I've done my best to either change metas, save characters, and get people to overall respect characters that didn't get respect before. This perhaps is my biggest challenge because I'm defending one of the most famous jobbers in comic book history, the Phantom Stranger. Most people associate jobbing with being weak, and thus Phantom Stranger, for as long as I've been power scaling, has always been considered weak and a jobber. So, we're going to try to change the people's mind today, and I am going to be introducing feats that took place in his individual run several years ago. With that being said, I hope you enjoy it, and if you like power scaling of comics and manga, among other things, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel. With that being said, let's dive in. Now, Phantom Stranger, for those that don't know, he originally was Judas from biblical timelines. Basically, think of Christian Bible with Jesus being betrayed by Judas. Phantom Stranger is Judas. He is the man that betrayed Jesus and snitched, and because of this, he is considered the greatest snitch of all time. Judas is then attached to the Trinity of Sin and is thus deemed the Phantom Stranger, a divine being bound to roam the earth until he is actually redeemed. So, Spectre video, go check it out, but consider it similar to the Spectre in that the Spectre roams and has to do his job until he actually has redemption. Stranger's first feat involved him revealing one of his blessings. He can see the timeline. Because of this sight, Stranger can track the future, and he's able to use it to tie it together to the present and kind of form a constantly evolving timeline that he can see and perceive, which is very important. He easily can comprehend it, and this allows him to use it to track his enemies and people he needs to save. He was tasked with the job of retrieving Raven to get her back to Trigon. In order to pull this off, Phantom Stranger had to face Raven, and overpower her, which he did. He had no problem overwhelming and BFRing Raven. He believed Belial, who was up to foul play, because he's always up to foul play. If you don't know who that is, Big Belly is the son of Trigon and perhaps the strongest, at least confidence-wise he is. And he's at some points even compared directly to his father in power. And we see him constantly pop up in the story, and Phantom Stranger stands up to him at times. Not only can Phantom Stranger see the timeline, but Stranger showed that at least on a universal scale or on a singular timeline, he can completely stop time in order to perform actions. We see Stranger go on to fight the Hell Highwayman, and in the beginning of the fight, of course, because he's Phantom Stranger, he jobs. After his usual jobbing, Stranger blocks the blast of the demon and summons a being who battles the Highwayman trans-dimensionally. This is a wild summoning feat, and Stranger scales above this summoning as well. So in terms of power, it's very good, and in terms of summoning, it's very good. After some hood rat stuff occurs, we see Stranger get summoned by John Constantine. Constantine wants Stranger because he needs Phantom Stranger's raw power. Constantine says Stranger is one of the highest sources of metaphysical power in the verse. So yes, this is blatantly outerversal. Deadman then attempts to possess Phantom Stranger. The act of touching Stranger's very being causes Deadman insane pain. He has possessed outerversal demons before, but this almost one-shot him. This is outerversal, as Deadman compares going into Phantom Stranger is like going into heaven and hell at the same time. In a tracking and senses feat, Stranger expands his mind and senses into the ether. The ether is explained in this same page to cover the countless multiverses, and he expands his mind to perceive all of it. We then see Stranger and Spectre beef. This beef is obviously due to the fact that Stranger accidentally led Jim Corrigan to die. Stranger manages to restrain Spectre with his cloak and even turned him into stone for a brief amount of time. This is when we see Presence decide to come down and end this battle between the two divine holy jobbers. Presence explains that if these two beings were to actually fully engage in battle, they would passively bring about the destruction of creation itself, which is crazy. Another outerversal feat. He then goes to visit Big B, the son of Trigon, to seek out some answers to what's going on. They, at that point, Trigon's sons, are playing poker in a truncated room. This room is called omnidirectional, and everywhere in there, millions of universes are crashing together. Phantom Stranger crosses this room and takes 0 damage while doing it. We then see Stranger end up playing poker with the brothers, and he does this in order to get answers. He mind hacks the siblings, and this is an outerversal mind hacks, even though it's revealed he was using tricks later, which I'll explain in a minute, but it's still a mind hacks because he was tricking them anyway. It ended up being Deadman that Phantom Stranger was using to check the minds of Trigon's sons. Deadman remarks that after doing so, even when he went into the mind of Belial, he said that it is way worse trying to possess Phantom Stranger. So indeed, possession resistance, outerversal levels for Phantom Stranger. We see him get stabbed by the Spear of Destiny, which, if you haven't seen my Spectre video, it's capable of taking down beings like Spectre, and he does survive this, which existence is supposed to existence erase him, and it does, but he survives it anyway. After surviving in a place where he absolutely ceased to exist, even his soul, Stranger ends up going to hell to save his human host, Philip's family. Philip, in his lifetime, was a serial murderer, and is now the Sin Eater because Phantom Stranger took away the love he had for his family. That way, Phantom Stranger could become Philip and live a good life and have a host body, and he accidentally turned Philip into the Sin Eater. To get to hell, it was stated Stranger had to endure life, death, and dreams, among other things, in order to get there. Stranger ends up going to heaven after the family is freed from hell, and he does this in order to bring them back to life. He is traveling outerversal distances, and it seems absolutely normal and casual to him, which is quite crazy. By the way, he leaves them in heaven because heaven, they're happier. Batman, who has demonstrated and at some point is blatantly stated to be on an intellectual par with beings whose minds are at least multiversal in capabilities like Brainiac, he cannot even comprehend what Phantom Stranger knows. He doesn't, not only can he not understand it, he can't perceive it in the first place, which is crazy. In terms of downright speed scaling, outside of his travel speeds, Stranger outright reacted to, acted, and used teleportation before Flash could move just a few meters. This is a very impressive blatant speed feat, as it involves Flash desperately trying to stop him before he leaves with someone. In terms of good hacks resistance, you can argue high outer mind and fate resistance hacks, as even Presence himself says for all his power, he cannot determine the motivations of Phantom Stranger. You could potentially argue that Stranger at one point had a high outer summoning. This came in the form of Archangel Zuriel. The reason he could summon him is to help him in battle, and the reason he has the ties to him is because they've been bound together even in his days as Judas. In a wild feat during the Blight arc, Stranger was bound by John Constantine. He proceeded to make the room full of high-tier characters like John, Pandora, and Swamp Thing stop fighting. He then mind-hacks John Constantine to find out what was going on. Using his divine power of the love of Jesus, Stranger was able to battle and damage Blight. This is easily an outerversal AP feat. Blight is the collective psyche evil of humanity from the collective unconscious, one of the fundamental forces akin to the emotional spectrum. Stranger also gets his power from Presence, who is easily above all the characters in this run, including Blight, Trigon, and Neuron. Phantom Stranger was confirmed to be capable of consciously pulling on the reserve powers in the presence. This power is beyond even magic, a concept that is high outerversal in DC. In their many jobber brawls, Stranger held his own against the Spectre. At some points in their fights, he even drew blood from the Spectre, and Presence said they are two sides of the same power. Belial attempts to contain some of the power of Phantom Stranger, and he gets one of the coins from Phantom Stranger. This power includes the turmoil and pain of Phantom Stranger's very existence. This brief exposure drops Belial to his knees, and the son of Trigon says he could never endure what Phantom Stranger passively negs, and the power is beyond the worst torture in the deep pits of hell. Stranger showed us how sophisticated and seasoned of a jobber he is, while explaining why he jobbed to Superman, who witnessed the jobbing himself. So it's not like he just did it and Superman heard about it. Superman watched him job. Stranger played it off as, quote, having faith. Big if true. In a high outer energy resistance feat, Stranger blatantly tanked the same energy that was helping to tear apart creation. Obviously, it's outerversal, but I'll explain how crazy in the outerversal it gets later. In a wild feat, it was shown that the cracks extended to the under, which connects even heaven and hell. Fixing this and holding off the invasion of Sin Eater's army, Stranger revealed he was Spectre's superior in resolve and merged them in order to battle the army. Stranger alone has high outer energy AP, as his blasts are able to knock back waves of fallen angels. In an impressive final resolve showing, Stranger faces Presence for the sake of Zuriel. The fact he does so proves to Presence Stranger is worthy of his status as the god of jobbers. He is God's jobber, actually, if you really think about it. His power source, Presence, also solos the council that featured Trigon and Blight that I told you about before. So, in conclusion, let's go over the power set after his individual run and a couple of the tie-ins. He has high outer resolve and willpower. He has high outerversal mind resistance, future and precog resistance, as he was able to be beyond Presence's view in what motivates him and causes him to do things, making him literally insanely unpredictable. He has high outerversal energy use and resistance, outerversal mystic shields, teleportation on an outerversal scale, power negation on a creation level, survived existence erasure across all types of existence, high outer soul hacks, high outer mind hacks, outerversal senses, instant regen, Zuriel summoning, which is an outerversal archangel, and high outer magic negation because he can tap into the presence for truly divine power, which predates and usurps magic itself in DC. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. I really enjoyed making this video. He is a jobber, jobbed in this run, but even while jobbing, we got to remember how strong Phantom Stranger really is and who he is. And yeah, he is outerversal. I hope you enjoyed the video. Check out his run if you like it. Thank you guys for watching. It's been your boy, your favorite villain, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.